Okay, let's practice yoga. Today we are going to refresh and invigorate ourselves by doing a couple of standing postures together with some inversions from a standing position. So we're going to get our head beneath our heart to get a fresh, rich supply of oxygen into our brains. We're going to begin in the standing position known as Tadasana, mountain posture. And in this position we can rectify our poise, our stature, and we can grow in height. We can bring alignment to our skeletal frame, all great foundations to be able to progress forward with our yoga practice. Be aware, remember that no force is ever needed. You do not push yourself beyond your limits. You observe yourself as you proceed. You're moving slowly so that you will be able to consciously control. Also remember that every time you breathe in, you create space inside yourself, outside yourself. Every time you breathe out, you surrender, you let go, you release. So let's proceed into Tadasana now. We're going to ground our feet in the floor beneath us or the mat. Without looking down, have this feeling of the feet becoming centered, grounded, connected to the earth beneath you. You might like to pick the toes up and give them a little bit of movement from little toe to big toe, up and down. You don't actually need too much tension in your toes to remain grounded. They should be light and released. Now start elevating up through the legs, from the soles of the feet. And as you proceed upwards, have a lift at the ankles and rise up through the shins and the calf muscles. Lift the knees. And as you create this space in the lower legs, you notice a continuum has begun. And therefore everything above wants to head in the same direction, upwards. Connect with the flesh on the thighs, the outer edge of the legs, the back of the legs, the hamstrings, and everything rises up. And as you connect with the flesh of the buttocks, lift the buttocks, draw the buttock cheeks together. Now what will happen when you draw the buttock cheeks together is you'll find a natural tilt occurs. So rather than sticking your bottom out one way, your chest the other, and having a deep curve in the lower spine, which actually puts strain on the spine and allows the stomach muscles to collapse, you'll have this tilt whereby the pelvic girdle and the pelvis in ancient times was called the basin. It's known as the basin, where all your organs sit in. Well, this natural tilt is rectifying the alignment of your basin. Once the basin is aligned, which is the linchpin between the upper body and the lower body, more alignment takes place. For you'll have this lifting through the spine, and you'll find that the head and shoulders align themselves over the hips. The stomach muscles quite naturally want to pull in as well because they're that much closer to the spine now. Rather than spilling forward, collapsing and putting strain on the spine, they pull in to give it some extra support and secure it. And you practice the position as simple as it looks, with dynamism and a calm composure. So you are relaxed, but also have vigour and energy. A nice deep breath in, and as you exhale, take the shoulders back, draw the shoulder blades towards each other, and this helps open out across the front of the chest, which in turn gives more room for when you breathe in and the ribcage opens to make way for the inflating lungs. And the more space you have, the more the lungs can grow. You increase lung capacity, which is beneficial, because increasing lung capacity means as you take your next breath in, there is more room for more breath and more oxygen. And it's oxygen that keeps you alive. It is oxygen that repairs, replenishes, rejuvenates, revitalizes. It's a vital force. Get your chin parallel with the mat so that the eyes focus forwards. And here the concentration begins. So become aware that during concentration you also remain composed and calm. You allow the teeth to unclench. You soften the skin on your face. You unfurrow the brow. Now close the eyes. You may feel the transference of weight between the 2 feet, and you want to centralize this weight. So tune in to the meridian line, the energy channel that runs directly through the center and core of you. It runs from your crown of head right down through the trunk of your body to your anus. Now see this channel, visualize it and draw in towards it so that your total body mass, the weight of you from the crown of your head, can travel down through the body, through the linchpin, the basin, the pelvic area, down the legs and into the feet, and disperse itself equally and evenly, giving you a great sense of connection with the earth beneath you, whilst rising up to the crown of the head and connecting with the universe above. Tune in and then open the eyes. Tadasana, mountain posture. Urdhva Tadasana, we breathe in and we take the hands to shoulder level. And when we exhale, we extend the energy from the heart, from the core, up and out to the fingertips. And activate and engage the flesh on the arms. Hit back with the biceps, the triceps. Hit back with the flesh. Hitting back simply means pulling the flesh and muscle to align with the bone. You'll feel it as you practice. And then from the shoulder girdle, rotate the arms so the palms of the hands face the ceiling. So be honest with yourself in your practice. Have you rotated from the shoulder girdle, or have you just simply twisted the wrist or the forearm? You can actually use the skin from the underarm to turn with the bones. All parts of your body are included in your movement. Some very subtle, others very clear. As you watch and observe yourself, you'll come to understand this more. When you next exhale, gently draw the fingertips down towards the floor. And then you'll breathe in and you'll rise the arms up above the head, rising up, lifting, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, Chin still parallel with the mat. Feeling the stretch from the ankles, the outer edge of the ankles, all the way up. The outer edge of the legs, the sides of the body, the outer edges of the arms, all the way to the fingertips. Breathe. Check that the pelvis is still tilted, the flesh of the buttocks still lifting up and the buttock cheeks drawing together. Check that the teeth are still unclenched. And then rotate hands and lower the arms. And as you lower the arms, still feel, as you breathe in, an elevation within you. Padangusthasana, one foot in one hand. This is an extensive stretch through the legs whilst being in an upright position, so it will develop coordination and balance within you and increase strength and focus and concentration. To begin with, you can have a chair beside you so that you can utilise this as support. You can have a wall beside you to help you gain balance in the early part of your practice. There are many levels and stages to finding the fullness of the position. So remember to work in the foundation, grow strong there before you move on. If the ego overtakes and tries to push you too far too soon, you might find frustration within yourself, even anger that you can't do the posture, which could lead to you giving up. Avoid that. Avoid the ego. Stay composed and calm. Observe the breath. The breath is your guide. If you have a belt or strap, you can utilise that as well. That will work as a bridge between your hand and your foot. Let's begin. So we're going to place our hands on our hips. If your hands are up here, they're at your waist. Put them at your hips. Soften your shoulders. Take the weight onto your left foot and make a firm standing leg. So the left leg is lifting, strong, upright, like a column. Peel the right heel away from the mat and draw the right thigh in towards the chest. As you release your right hand and bring the body forward slightly to be able to connect the right hand with the ball of the right foot. And then once again, lift and rise up through the trunk of the body. Get your head and shoulders directly over your hips. If you have a belt, this is where you will have it around your foot and holding it with your hand. If you have a wall beside you, this is where you will be using it as support, or a chair. A nice deep inhalation, lifting up, creating space internally, pulling up pubis to navel, navel to breastbone. And then when you begin to exhale, you start to straighten the leg. Being non-judgmental if your leg doesn't fully straighten. That's okay. It's part of the progress, the process of your practice. Keeping the breath flowing, keeping your focus on the wall in front of you, your chin parallel with the mat. You can soften in the right hip and swing the right leg out and counterbalance by releasing the left hand to rest in line with the shoulder. Rise up as you breathe in and come out of the position with the strength and grace that you went in. Find yourself returning to Tadasana, preparing to transfer and practice on the other side. So let's take our weight into our right foot, our right leg, and make the right leg strong. It's rising, elevating, lifted. Peel the left heel off of the mat. Draw the left thigh towards the trunk of the body. Avoid moving the body forward too far to collect the foot in the hand. You don't want to overbalance yourself. And then rise up again through the torso, becoming a pillar of strength. And as you exhale, commence the surrender through the left leg so that it may straighten. Relaxing in the left hip so that you may swing the femur bone, the thigh bone, out in the hip socket, and extend the right arm so the right hand is aligned with the right shoulder, counterbalancing the left leg. Breathe. And come out of the position with the strength and grace that you entered. Finding yourself once again in Tadasana. Scan the body for any pockets of tension you may have drawn in, and breathe out and let go of them. Close the eyes and once again become grounded, centered. Now let's do a standing forward bend. So we're actually moving toward being inverted, having our head beneath our heart. And it's in this position that you will gain a rich oxygen supply of blood into your brain. You will also be able to passively elongate the torso here and stretch through the spine, because the head, the heaviest part of your body, is going to assist with that. Let's bring our hands onto our hips. Now be aware that your hands are on your hips. All too often you may directly just want to position them here, which is at the waist. Just travel them down a bit. Feel the crease, the upper crease, and the connection between the toppermost of the thigh with the beginnings of the pelvic girdle. And your thumbs, they'll be pressing into the innominate bone, which is the large part of the back of the pelvic area bone. It's called the innominate bone. And already we are thinking of creating space. We're lifting up internally, pubis to navel, navel to breastbone, the sternum, and from the sternum to the brow, from the brow to the crown of the head and up. There is this continual spaciousness, this lift being created with every breath that you draw in. As you exhale, begin to use the thumbs to gently push the hips. You're hinging over at the hips. You're going to take it nice and slowly so that you allow time for the legs to adjust and adapt, so that the full leg on left side, right side gets involved. So that means the stretch is going to happen to the Achilles tendon, the hamstring, the thighs, the shins, the inside of the legs, the outside of the legs, the front, the back. So moving slowly is allowing the communication between the mind and the body to take place. You'll get to the halfway mark, and you want to feel that you have a nice tabletop back now. So your view, your gaze should be directly at the mat beneath you. This releases any creases out the back of the neck and ensures that the head and neck are a natural extension of the spine. So avoid looking up and avoid dropping the head down too much at this stage. You also want to be thinking about the stomach and pulling the stomach up instead of allowing it to collapse down to the mat. The stomach muscles, very important in strengthening and securing the health of your spine. So let's take another breath in. Let's check that our toes are relaxed. Give them a bit of a wiggle. You don't want to be tensing those toes into the mat overly so. Making space and then exhaling, hinging the body down. Now, if you need to have a slight bend in the knees, then do so. If the legs are indeed shaking, that is the nervous system telling you you have gone too far. So even at this stage here, you could have a chair in front of you and be holding onto that chair for support so that you enable a bit more comfort in the legs for them to start to relax and stretch. If you can move all the way into a full Uttanasana, then do so. And this is where you let go of the back of the neck and the crown of the head points down towards the floor now. And this is where the trunk of the body passively elongates because the weight of the head is pulling it downwards. This is where you are getting a fresh supply of rich oxygenated blood into the head, the brain. Unclench your teeth. Be aware that your buttocks are over the heels of your feet and that you're not pushing your buttocks to the wall behind you. Take a nice deep breath in and simply draw the buttocks forward. It may cause adjustment of weight disbursement in your feet. That's fine. Adapt. Be aware. Observe. And then from here, let's walk the hands up the legs. Now, because we have new oxygen in the brain, we want to return to an upright position, controlled, so that the levels may regulate perfectly. So get your chin onto your chest, walk the hands slowly up the legs as you tilt the pelvis, pull the tummy in, restack the bones of the spine, and once the shoulders are aligned over the hips, then bring the chin to come parallel with the mat and breathe. You might like to close the eyes once again so that you can draw inwards to gain a greater perspective of how you feel, both internally and externally. Experiencing a sense of rejuvenation, replenishment, revitalization. And open the eyes. Breathe in. Bring the palms of the hands together on the chest. Give yourself positive affirmation. Positive affirmations are words, sentences or phrases that when you repeat to yourself enough times, they become your reality. Today, your positive affirmation is, I am refreshed, rejuvenated and revitalized. I am refreshed, rejuvenated and revitalized. So proceed with your day, having thanks for having done your practice, having gratitude for everything you have rather than that which you do not have, and be safe in the knowledge that yoga is good for you.